What's going on, guys? So, if you didn't know already, Gus Manic posted a huge Apocalypse Rising 2 roadmap post that talks about the future of Apocalypse Rising 2 and what they have planned. So we're going to go over that today. There is a lot to talk about, so that's probably why this video is so long. And by the way, hit that subscribe button. It means the world to me. So, post-Accelerator update. It's been a while since our last update. If you didn't know, earlier this spring, the core Apoc 2 development team participated in Roblox's Accelerator program. For 3 months, we worked 40 hours per week on the game, and we made a lot of excellent progress. However, the majority of our time was spent on features and content that has not been fully explained or revealed to the community. During the Accelerator, we realized that it was the best time to start work on some big additions to the game that were required before we could release the game for free. Unfortunately, we did not have enough time to ship these additions during the program, but we got off to a great start. I want to take this opportunity to fully inform everyone what we're working on and what we have planned. So we're going to have 4 different sections. Each section is going to have different parts to it. So like section 1 is going to have like A, B, and C. So that's how this is going to work. So Priority Shift and Apoc 2's open beta. It's hard to believe, but work began on Apoc 2 about 5 years ago. It's been a long time. I'm proud of what our team has accomplished so far, and although we've had some hiccups along the way, our dedication to the project has not wavered. But our patience is not infinite. We know there are thousands of players who have been patiently waiting for the game to be free to play. As much as I wanted to keep polishing little things before moving on to these last essential systems during the Accelerator, we decided it was time to put the small stuff aside and get to work on these things we need before the game could be released as a free-to-play open beta. There are 4 things we must have in a playable state before Apocalypse Rising 2 can be released as an open beta. I'll discuss each of these points in detail later on, but here's a brief overview. So first off, we're going to start with the new map. The new map will spawn players among outer edges of the main mass of 3 islands. However, the intention being that traveling inward will come with increased risk and rewards. However, unlike the current map, the new map won't have a big empty stretch of water in the center. Instead, we'll be replacing the space between the islands with a winding river. We're planning more bridges between islands, and of course the distance to swim between islands will be less significant. Another big change is that Mackinac Island will be completely reworked to become part of Barkley Island. We are also completely removing the volcano from Barkley and replacing it with a new environment that will take up much less space. As for Lulu Island and Albatross Island, we're still debating potential changes. Besides that, we expect to have a variety of islands around the main 3, and we currently plan players to spawn on the main 3. No more swimming across the huge stretch of island after spawning in. So I'm really impressed with what they're doing here, because as of now, the current map, we have that huge space between, like, let's say Salem and Destroyer Shipwreck, that huge open water space. I'm not a fan of that. I think rivers are going to be a great addition to this. I feel like they'll do a great job, and the fact that they're moving NAS to be an inward location, the center of the map will most likely be the most player-intensive or PvP-intensive location, where probably most of the geared players will be at, while most of the players that are newly spawned will be on the outer edges of the map and outer edged towns, which I actually like what they're doing here. Instead of spawning in a random location, I mean, nothing is really central on the current map iteration, but I can't wait to see this next one. Going on to the next section, number 2, the new inventory interface. If you guys watched the development trailer they put out, they had this picture of they had the guy with the new inventory system. I kind of like it better than what we have now. And this one is actually able to scale to different resolutions. So let's say your monitor is like really small, but for this current system that we're on now, it wasn't able to do that. So this new system will be able to do that, so it's easier to scale and whatnot. I was wondering what that utility thing is, so I guess that's just for like flashlights, and apparently they're adding binoculars. This is something I actually wanted for a long time. I always wanted binoculars. That is the one thing that I want, and I'm actually really happy. Moving on to number 3, base building. This is a topic I know a lot of people are excited about, so let's just get started. I understand players have been curious about Apoc 2's base building system for a very long time. There are still some details we have to work out, but it's time to reveal more about the direction we're taking. Keep in mind that we have not begun work on implementing the base building system, so everything is still highly subject to change, but let's get into it. First and foremost, our top priorities are for the system to be easy to use, fast, engaging, fast, rewarding, and most importantly, fast. Why is speed so important? Because currently we do not have plans to support persistent servers. This means we won't be able to guarantee that your base will still be around on some server you played on the day before. But that's okay, because this means we can specifically design the base building system and player experience around shorter play sessions, and that's exactly what we intend. It has taken years for games like Rust to flesh out their base building system. Players spend hours or days grinding for resources and carefully designing their bases to be secure as possible. This is not an experience we want to replicate. Instead, we want Apoc 2 players to be able to have full base building experiences in 2 to 3 hours if possible. In other words, you should be able to gather resources and build a base in under an hour or so. For the following hour or two, you can complete objectives/achievements/unlocks, raid other bases, defend your own base, or maybe even lose everything in one big fight. Our goal is for base building to be fast and for the overall experience to be highly replayable. Players should expect their bases to be temporary, just like players expect their loot and vehicles to be temporary. With that being said, in the same way that players find and unlock cosmetics over time, we want to offer a variety of unique rewards for base building and maybe even vehicles/firearms. Ultimately, it is these rewards earned by exploring/completing objectives and missions, or through achievements, which will act as APOC 2's primary method of long-term progression, and he'll talk about this later. But, so Rust is a game that I actually take seriously, unlike APOC when it comes to combat and whatnot. But, since I usually only play APOC when I'm doing something for YouTube or, like, taking a screenshot, I'm most likely pretty much on Rust all the time. And then, since I'm in college, I really value as much time as I can with friends, so if you see me playing APOC and I die to you, I'm just trying to have some fun, and I really don't care about the loot as much as others do. And yeah, I know I'm bad. I'm not used to games with two perspectives, and I honestly really don't care, because that's really just the name of the game. You guys need to, like, calm down a little bit, but hopefully you guys understand that. I've had enough of people telling me I'm bad. You don't think I know that? But, I mean, Rust, when it comes to the building system, I think, the way that they're going to do it is a really good approach, because working on a base for hours and it doesn't save is really underwhelming. I think they're getting a good foot into the direction that would be great for APOC 2, especially on a Roblox game. Moving on to the second section. In order to make sure players can easily build a base and actually have time to play the game afterward, we have to make many fundamental changes to the system players experienced in the original game. To start, players will still have to gather a couple of base building materials if they want to construct anything. These may come in the form of lumber, concrete, scrap metal, or something along those lines. Players may also need to find a utility, but this is still undecided. With minimal searching and a handful of building materials, players will be able to use a menu to view organized collections of prefabricated assets, select something, and plop it into place. We are not trying to replicate Rust. We are also not planning for players to manipulate individual parts. Instead, the majority of base building assets will be designed to be used with existing structures, while we do expect players to build some simple outdoor barriers, maybe barbed wire defenses or small platforms. Our intention is for players to choose any building in the game and easily fortify it. We want to provide a lot of options for fortifying windows and doors, and we want structures to have unique based building opportunities where possible. I mean, really what he's saying here, if you guys don't understand, so like the houses that we have now in game, you can pretty much just like plop down a door to it, or like some windows or something like that, and fortify it, like with some like pieces here and there, like boards on the windows. I don't know what they're gonna do. I'm just giving some examples from what he's saying right here. But honestly, it's a great approach instead of making structures like in Rust, because I don't see how that would work out at all. I mean, like your base would literally just get destroyed within a few hours since the server doesn't save. Or what if the server crashes? I'm not sure how they're gonna deal with that issue, but hopefully they can figure that out before they actually implement any of this. Moving on to the last section, the mission system. There's 3 types of missions we have in mind: repeatable tasks, rare opportunities, and storyline missions. The lowest form of these is repeatable tasks. Think of these as what you might casually achieve on the side. One example of this might be to find X number of items and deliver them to a specific location, or maybe kill X number of infected types with a special weapon. This is pretty much basic stuff, but APOC 2 is a big game. We can come up with a varied rotation of these tasks. A more interesting example could be to secure a location with fortifications and transfer data from a particular computer onto a floppy disk, and then delivering that floppy disk to a specific container in a specific location. Rewards for these missions could scale depending on the task. In general, rewards for these tasks could be a powerful firearm with ammo, a repaired vehicle, rare vehicle upgrades, firearm attachments, ammo containers, rare utility items, base building materials, or even special base items like a portable gas generator. The plan is for us to carefully offer these tasks repeatable. The plan is for us to carefully offer these repeatable tasks to players depending. I think the mission system's really going to expand on the gameplay of APOC 2, because currently it's just PvP, nothing to it. I'm happy that this has finally been announced. I've been waiting for something big like this to happen, coming from the Accelerator program, because I felt like before this post nothing was really happening, and I'm not sure what they were doing, because what we saw in the city trailer, I thought it was just the city, and I didn't know how fast they were really developing. But with this post, it seems like they're really developing quickly, and they're really ready to push to the free release, and hopefully we'll hit 2,000 soon. Thank you guys for watching. This has been Zach, and as always, have a nice day.